Hi, I'm BTSS. I love to read and write scary stories. My mom is one of my few loyal fans. She has a unique hobby. She likes to buy lottery tickets and predict the winning numbers for Powerball using everyday life symbols. For example, if she sees a cloud that looks like a 3, she'll pick 3 as one of the numbers for her next lottery ticket. She also has her own unique Taiwanese strategy that she has shared with me. For instance, she thinks a tree is the number 4, a dog is 9, a butterfly is 38, and so on. Don't ask me why. I really don't know why. Since I started uploading my videos, she has been watching them and using them to predict the winning numbers. One time, she shared her strategy with me, and not only did I think it made no sense, but I also found it quite amusing. I started to think, why not share her predicted numbers at the end of my stories? From now on, every now and then, I will pick one of my feature stories and show my mom the video before I upload it. I will ask her to predict the winning Powerball numbers and take notes of her deductions. Then, at the end of the story, I will share the numbers she picked, along with the date of the next drawing when she will buy a ticket with those numbers. Just a quick note, she rarely gets the right numbers, so I personally don't think she's very good at predicting. So please don't follow her picks and expect to make big money. Now let's begin today's story. Jordan was born with an intellectual disability, and his parents left him when he was very young. He grew up in an orphanage and was often bullied by other children because of his mental challenges. Although Jordan is not academically gifted, he does have one talent. He is quite skilled at folding paper cranes. When he lived in the orphanage, other children would play outside while he stayed indoors, using old newspapers to create his origami birds. Some unkind children would mock Jordan, saying that his hobby was stupid, but he didn't let their words get to him. When Jordan turned 18, he moved out of the orphanage with the help of social workers. They assisted him in finding an affordable government-owned rental unit, which gave him a place to call his own. Although his new home was small, he was content with it. Each morning, he walked along the streets, collecting old newspapers from house to house. He then brought the newspapers to a recycling company to sell them and make some money. Although the amount of money he earned each month was only enough to pay his rent and buy a small piece of bread each day, he surprisingly managed to get by on that meager amount. In his free time, Jordan enjoyed folding paper cranes. On Saturdays, he would bring his creations to the nearby outdoor market and try to sell them for some extra cash. Unfortunately, he didn't make much money from selling his origami birds because most people didn't see the value in them. One day, while Jordan was at the market selling his paper cranes, he noticed a girl standing in a corner crying. He walked over to her and offered her one of his paper cranes. When the girl saw the intricately folded bird, she smiled and thanked him before running off. Jordan found the girl to be cute and became quite fond of her. The following Saturday, while Jordan was waiting for customers to buy his paper cranes, he heard someone call out his name. Looking up, he saw that it was the same girl from the previous week. She handed him a quarter and asked for one paper crane. Jordan was overjoyed to see her again and quickly gave her 2 paper cranes instead. Over the next few Saturdays, Phoebe continued to show up at the market and buy paper cranes from Jordan, and he always gave her more than she paid for. They quickly became friends, and Jordan learned that her name was Phoebe. Sometimes, Phoebe would even stay with Jordan to help him sell his paper cranes because he wasn't very skilled at sales. He tended to speak slowly, but Phoebe was able to help him communicate more effectively. One day, Jordan finally worked up the courage to ask Phoebe why she had been crying the first day they met. Phoebe confided in him that her grandmother was very sick and in the hospital, which made her very sad. She also mentioned that people believed paper cranes could bring good luck, so she had been buying them from Jordan every week and leaving them by her grandmother's bedside. Phoebe went on to tell Jordan a story she had heard about how making 1,000 paper cranes in one day could make a wish come true. Jordan promised Phoebe that he would make 1,000 paper cranes for her and wish for her grandmother's recovery. Although Phoebe knew it was impossible, she was deeply touched by Jordan's kind gesture. Suddenly, a middle-aged man appeared at the market looking for Phoebe. It was her father, who informed her that her grandmother's condition had worsened and they needed to go to the hospital immediately. Phoebe quickly left with her father, leaving Jordan alone at the market, thinking about how he could make good on his promise to her. That night, in the hospital room, Phoebe's family had gathered around her grandmother's bedside. Suddenly, they looked out the window and saw a beautiful and touching scene, a large group of paper cranes flying in the air. Everyone was surprised, especially Phoebe. She looked out the window and saw Jordan standing on the roof of a building across the street. It was Jordan who had poured down 1,000 paper cranes from the top of the building. With the help of the wind, the paper cranes flew in the air. Jordan had done it. He had made 1,000 paper cranes within a day. Phoebe quickly made a wish for her grandmother to recover from her illness. The next morning, her wish came true. Her grandmother was getting better day by day and eventually became healthy enough to leave the hospital. Jordan became a local celebrity because people had heard that he had made 1,000 paper cranes within a day, and that a wish had come true as a result. His paper crane business flourished, and he and Phoebe began dating. It was the best time of his life. However, a group of thugs Tim, Alex, Buddy, and Dave became jealous of Jordan's success. One night, they appeared suddenly in front of Jordan as he was walking home, and began pushing him around and bullying him. They even scattered his paper cranes on the ground. On another occasion, they showed up while Jordan and Phoebe were walking along the river bank. Once again, they started pushing Jordan around. This time, Phoebe angrily told the four thugs to back off and leave Jordan alone. On another night, Jordan and Phoebe were at Jordan's place when the four thugs broke in. They started to push Jordan around again, but Phoebe stood up to defend him. Tim shoves Phoebe hard, causing her to fall and hit her head on a table. She passed out. Jordan tried to protect her but was too slow. The four thugs then started beating Jordan. Alex saw a large basket in the corner of the room and got an idea. They lifted Jordan up and threw him upside down into the basket. They all left laughing. When Jordan regained consciousness, he found Phoebe still unconscious. He quickly called 911 and sent her to the hospital. Sadly, Phoebe's head injury was too severe, and she passed away. Jordan was devastated by Phoebe's passing. The police managed to catch the four thugs, but during the trial, the accused denied having visited Jordan's place. There was no physical evidence nor any witnesses to corroborate Jordan's story. Jordan was the only witness in court, but due to his intellectual disability, he had difficulty speaking and often stuttered. As a result, he struggled to clearly explain what had happened. Unfortunately, the court could not use his testimony against him. Alex, Buddy, and Dave, and the four thugs were released from custody. A week later, Buddy and Dave were discovered brutally murdered. The police initially suspected Jordan as the culprit, believing that he may have sought revenge against them. However, after an investigation, it was determined that Jordan could not have been the murderer. At the time of the attack, Jordan was seen at another location, making it impossible for him to have committed the crime. Additionally, the victims were beaten to death by a group of people, which Jordan, being alone, could not have accomplished. Furthermore, Jordan did not have the means to hire someone to carry out such a heinous crime, as he lacked friends and financial resources. Thus, Jordan was ruled out as a suspect. Another week had passed when one night, Alex was walking home alone and suddenly saw Jordan blocking his way. Alex grew angry that Jordan showed up like that to scare him and began to beat him repeatedly. Alex strongly believed that Jordan had something to do with Buddy's and Dave's murder, although he did not know how Jordan did it. He let his anger out and beat Jordan hard. Suddenly, he felt a sharp pain in his back and realized that someone had stabbed him from behind with a knife. Alex turned around and saw the person behind him, causing his face to turn pale. "How is this possible?" were Alex's last words as he succumbed to his wound. The next morning, Alex's body was found on the street, and the police suspected Jordan as the culprit this time. To their surprise, many people reported seeing Jordan drinking in a bar when the murder of Alex took place. The bar was on the other side of town and at least a 2-hour walk from where the murder occurred. The police checked with every taxi driver in the city, and none of them had picked up Jordan that night. As a result, Jordan was ruled out as a suspect again. After the deaths of Alex, Buddy, and Dave, Tim became extremely frightened and stayed home all day. One night, Jordan appeared in the living room, and Tim, shocked, ran to the bedroom to hide. To his horror, when he entered his bedroom, he found Jordan standing there. Was it possible that Jordan had moved from one place to another instantly? Tim left the bedroom and ran to his bathroom to hide, only to find Jordan waiting for him in the bathtub. Terrified and feeling like he was going crazy, Tim ran back to the kitchen and grabbed a gas barrel, releasing the gas and lighting a fire. The explosion that followed killed both Tim and Jordan. At the same time, across town, a man sat at the counter of a bar, drinking a beer. He spoke slowly and was a little slow-witted, and it was evident to others in the bar that he was mentally challenged. This man was Jordan. How did he move instantly from Tim's house to the bar across town? The answer will be revealed soon. Police and firefighters arrived at the burned house within 10 minutes. Strangely, they discovered a total of 8 corpses in the house. The forensic team was able to identify one of the bodies as Tim's. However, the other 7 corpses could not be identified. The team did make a strange discovery, though. All 7 of the remaining corpses had identical DNA, as if they were the same individuals. The police summoned Jordan to the police station to question him since he had been a suspect in the murders of Alex, Buddy, and Dave. Jordan insisted that he was at the bar when Tim's house exploded. With so many witnesses corroborating his story, the police couldn't do anything and let him go. However, before Jordan left, the police asked if they could take a DNA sample from him. Jordan thought it was too much trouble and shook his head. The police recognized Jordan's right to refuse and let him go. Jordan got home, sat down in his chair, and thought of Phoebe. He missed her so much. He took out a small piece of bread he had bought from the bakery earlier that day. He placed the bread into the large basket in the corner and, interestingly, took out 2 breads. He then placed the 2 breads inside the basket again and, amazingly, took out 4 breads. He had the 4 breads for dinner and went to bed. Dear audience, yes, the basket is the secret of the story. When Jordan moved into his apartment, the large basket came with it. It was old and ugly, but Jordan liked it. One day, he placed a stack of newspapers inside the basket, and to his surprise, it turned into 2 stacks. He realized that the basket could turn one thing into two. However, Jordan was not bright and did not use the basket to make himself rich. Instead, he lived a regular life. Every day, he earned enough money to purchase a small piece of bread from the bakery. When he got home, he turned the bread into 4 pieces and had them for dinner. The 4 pieces of bread provided him with enough energy for the next day. Jordan used the same basket to make 1,000 paper cranes. He created 1 paper crane and put it in the basket, and it doubled in number every time he did so. He repeated this process until he had 1,000 paper cranes. On the day the 4 thugs broke into Jordan's place, they threw him into the large basket. When he regained consciousness, he saw himself standing next to him. One Jordan had turned into 2 Jordans. After Phoebe passed away and the 4 thugs were released from custody, Jordan decided to take revenge himself. He used the basket to create 7 clones of himself. He stayed in the bar across town while the 7 Jordans found Buddy and Dave and started fighting them. One Jordan alone would have definitely lost in a fight against Buddy and Dave, but with 7 of them together, they were able to win. Another reason they were able to defeat Buddy and Dave was the fact that the 2 thugs were horrified when they saw 7 clone Jordans and couldn't even stand still. As for Alex, when the 2nd Jordan stabbed him from behind, Alex turned around and saw him. That's why he exclaimed, "How is this possible?" In Tim's house, the 7 Jordans broke in and each one of them stayed in a different room to scare Tim. Unfortunately, Tim lit up the gas, killing himself and all 7 Jordans in the house. Only the Jordan in the bar managed to escape death. Jordan went on with his life. He still went to outdoor market to sell paper cranes every Saturday. He still missed Phoebe a lot. One day at the market, a familiar voice called out Jordan's name. He lifted his head and saw Phoebe standing in front of him, with a big smile on her face and a quarter to buy a paper crane. Jordan was stunned. He couldn't believe that Phoebe was still alive. Phoebe gave Jordan a big hug, and then sat down next to him to help sell his paper cranes, just like before. Dear audience, do you want to know what happened? That day, when Jordan and Phoebe were at his apartment, Jordan went to the bathroom. Phoebe got up and walked around the apartment, but accidentally stumbled and fell into the large basket. She twisted her ankle and quickly left Jordan's apartment to treat it. Unbeknownst to anyone, there was a second Phoebe who got up from the basket when Jordan came out of the bathroom. The second Phoebe stayed with Jordan in the apartment, while the first Phoebe went home to rest her ankle. 10 minutes later, Tim, Alex, Buddy, and Dave broke into Jordan's apartment. And that was the whole story. Jordan and Phoebe lived happily ever after. Now, it is time to predict the winning number for the Powerball. To play Powerball, we need to choose 5 main numbers between 1 and 69 and 1 Powerball number from 1 to 26. When deducing the winning numbers from my story, Mom likes to pick the 6 most important scenes from the story and predict 1 number from each scene. The first important scene of the story was Jordan folding paper cranes. There were 4 numbers related to birds: 13, 33, 44, or 46. Numbers 33 and 46 were for the fictional bird, the phoenix. I did not know why the phoenix was associated with 2 numbers, but it was based on my mom's prediction table. Number 13 corresponded to large birds, while number 44 was for small birds. My mom mentioned that an origami bird was relatively small, so she opted for 44. She believed this number is the Powerball number. However, 44 exceeded 26. If a number went over, it went back to 1 again. Therefore, Mom subtracted 26 from 44 and got the number 18, which was the Powerball number my mom predicted. The second important scene of the story was Jordan pouring down 1,000 paper cranes from a roof overlooking the hospital. Each paper crane represented number 44. Multiplying 44 by 1,000 gave us a total of 44,000. Mom subtracted 69 from 44,000, repeating this process 637 times, ultimately resulting in the number 47, the second number Mom predicted. The third important scene of the story was when many good things were happening at the same time. Phoebe's grandmother recovered from her illness, Jordan gained local fame, Jordan's paper crane business flourished, and Jordan and Phoebe began dating. Many good things happening at the same time represented the number 68. I couldn't believe there was a number associated with this. As there were 4 good things that happened, Mom multiplied 68 by 4, resulting in 272. She then subtracted 69 from 272 3 times, ultimately obtaining the number 65, the third number Mom predicted. The fourth important scene of the story was that the 4 thugs bullied Jordan and accidentally killed Phoebe. Bullying was not listed on Mom's prediction table. However, my mom explained that the word for bullying in Mandarin sounded similar to 80 in Mandarin, leading her to associate it with the number 80. The act of killing represented the number 24. Adding 80 and 24 gave us a total of 104. Subtracting 69 from 104 yielded the number 35, which was the fourth number Mom predicts. The fifth important scene in the story was that a group of Jordans seeking revenge and murdering 4 bad guys. A good guy was the number 50, while a bad guy was half of a good guy, 25. In total, there were 8 Jordans. Multiplying 50 by 8 gave us 400. There were 4 bad guys, and multiplying 25 by 4 yielded 100. As the good guys killed the bad guys, Mom took 400 minus 100, resulting in 300. She then subtracted 69 from 300 4 times, ultimately obtaining the number 24, the fifth number Mom predicted. The sixth important scene of the story was the magical basket, which had the power to transform everything inside it into 2. Mom believed the basket was Jordan's trash can at home. According to Mom, a trash can represented the number 2. Since the basket in the story doubled everything, my mom multiplied 2 by 2, resulting in 4, which was the 6th number. Therefore, the winning number for the Powerball my mom predicted from this story were 4, 24, 35, 47, 65, and the Powerball number was 18. Mom already purchased the Powerball ticket with this set of number for the drawings on May 22nd, May 24th, and May 27th of 2023. Hope she will win some money. Good luck to those of you who also purchased Powerball tickets.